What's up, everyone? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, November 29th, 2018. There's Bitcoin. Bitcoin on the weekly chart, looking beautiful. We're in that range, that potential support range that we've been talking about for a while now. And I want to talk about that more in this video. I also want to dive into the 4-hour chart a little bit, check out what I'm looking at on the shorter time frames, possibly continue to run up, but we're going to talk about that. And then I also want to answer the question, am I bullish or bearish right now at this point? So I tweeted yesterday, I said, until we have multiple confirmations of a bull market, I'll continue technical analysis with bearish context. It's not because I'm bearish, it's because I want to be prepared to get as much cheap Bitcoin and Litecoin as I can. I also don't think it's bull season yet. So, and then someone commented, they said, so you're bearish. I'm not bearish. I'm long-term bullish. That's why if you watch my channel, I'm always on the weekly chart zoomed out. But I think it's important to let you know, as I do technical analysis right now, I do so with kind of a bearish tone to it because we're in a bear market. And I think that's obvious wisdom to utilize. So that's what we're going to do. Now, when we get a bull market, we'll have a bullish tone to it. But the principles and the foundations of the analysis are the same, but our approach is a little bit different. So Let's kind of start with the weekly chart. So weekly chart, and really for good context to this chart, we have this tweet I did 3 days ago, and I covered it yesterday. I'm ready for Bitcoin to go under $3,500, but if I had to throw a guess out there, I'd say Bitcoin sees a slow climb back to 50 EMA on the daily chart. And so you can see that's the bear market. This is the daily chart. So when I say that, we were right around, I believe, right around $3,700 3 days ago. So we were right around here when I tweeted that. So far, we've made a little bit of approach, like 15% gains or so, and we're not quite to the 50 EMA yet. But there are some really interesting consistencies I want to point out in terms of this range that we're in compared to the actual bear markets in 2013 to 2015. This range. So very true similarities that I want to go over. What's cool is that we can use this chart now that we've fallen into this bottom range, right? And we were talking about this bottom range before it was even there. For me, my guess was $3,500 to $5,500, and we're in that range right now. And what's really cool to me for a purpose of technical analysis is we're starting to find some support, some resistance areas in this range, and it helps define the analysis that much better. So let's look at some consistencies. Number one, we fell into it, right? So first off, we fell into the bottom range similar to the last bear market. Boom. Secondly, I want to speak of the momentum oscillator, and particularly the RSI right now, because it's something we've talked about. Probably last week we did a video talking about this, which is this oversold area, right? This was the first. We had oversold areas leading up to this, but this was the oversold area where Bitcoin fell into that final range in the bear market, the bottom range in the bear market. So we were tracking it closely and talking about the similarities to where we are now, where Bitcoin is now. And you can see it. Here's Bitcoin now, even more oversold. But this is Bitcoin falling into its current bottom range. And there are a lot of similarities. So Number one, what I'm looking for is we just came back through the oversold line and we have some upward momentum. And so something to really look out for, because same thing, when we formed the bottom in the last bear market, we came through that oversold line, had some momentum, approached the overbought area, didn't quite get above it. So what'll be interesting to see is how this plays out in terms of, my little prediction that we're going to run up to $5,500. Based on this tweet that I had the other day. So that's the second point. And then, really the third overall point is really, and let me try and zoom out here. Back to the chart. Actually, I want to go to the daily chart in this bear market. So here's the daily chart in the bear market. So the third point that I just want to make is, here is us. I shouldn't say us. I wasn't even here back in this bear market in 2015, but here's Bitcoin basically falling right into its bottom range, right? And here's Bitcoin now falling right into its bottom range thus far. So right now, that's kind of what we're looking at. We have a lot of consistency, a lot of harmony between the last bear market and this bull market. And I'm just zooming out the charts. The reason I always really kind of start videos with this is because we've been talking about this for months, the similarities of the two. And we've gotten so many comments saying you can't compare the two, but you totally can. It's the whole point of technical analysis. I don't care what market it is. Humans are behind this, and humans really create, like an artist, the flow of the charts, the harmony of the charts. And you can see it on the screen. So that's what we're using right now. Now, going over to the 4 hour, this is where it kind of gets fun, in the short term, to just check the charts, have some fun with it, see where we're going, where we're at. So first off, here's Bitcoin breaking through the $6,000 area, right? So let's tell this story that happened in the last couple weeks or so. Broke through $6,000. Everybody in anticipation right here around $5,500. What's going to happen for a few days? Just like everybody wondering, we're about to fall off a cliff or what? And we did. So here's us falling into this wedge right here. This is the first wedge in this bottom, really, that I like to think of. We have these lower lows, we have these lower highs forming, and we had really, once the wedge was formed, we had this breakout, this breakout target, which is the height of the wedge. And you can see we actually hit it. We hit the breakout target in terms of this falling wedge. So when we broke that wedge, there's a couple of things happening. Number one, we look for a formation of the next wedge. And number two, we look for the possibility that we're going to revisit this orange wedge, the upper trend line, for support. So here we are. We talked about this in yesterday's video because we had this, these lower low or these higher lows forming in this possible new wedge. We have this first touch to the upper trend line of this new rising wedge. And when I did yesterday's video, we were right here. And we were basically saying we need to wait. We need to wait like maybe 8 hours to see how this chart forms, to see if we get a confirmation of another touch at the top of the wedge to really confirm a formation here and this pattern. And so since then, we've gotten it. We've gotten that touch. And now where we are is we are right at the 50 EMA. So we had a little bit of a pullback after the touch. We broke back above the 50 EMA and we're hugging it right now. So really interesting for me to watch to see if we show support at the 50 EMA in the 4 hour. It's that first sign of reversal. Obviously, you can look at the hourly if you want, but I like to start at the 4 hour and kind of work up into the daily chart from there. So right now, what I'm looking at today, what you can look at is the 4 hour chart, this upper trend line. See if we retest it again. You can see we kind of retested it a few times now on this 4 hour chart. I'd be very interested, and I know my trend line isn't perfect. I could move it down easily. I just haven't. So really interesting to see if we can break above this, or if we're actually going to come back down and test the lower trend line, simultaneously testing this very confluent area of this upper trend line of this previous wedge we broke out of. So we all know it happens often where we come back down to test the upper trend line for support, and then maybe we get a bounce. That would play very well into the story. And then really, the length of this wedge, the height of this wedge, would have a breakout area up to around $5,400 to $5,500, which would wrap us all back around into my beautiful prediction of $5,500. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm throwing it out there. So that's essentially my technical analysis for Bitcoin as of today. Really cool to see on the 4 hour chart, something to watch. This is the perfect picture, as you see on the screen, of this triangle looking reversal, right? So down, bottom, and then starting to go back up. So let's see. It starts on the 4 hour. We'll see how it forms. Let me know your thoughts. Are we going lower? I truly know it's a possibility. I truly do know that. But I want to know what you think. I really appreciate you coming by in this video. I'll see you all in the next video. Have an awesome day or night wherever you are, and God bless.